Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to VA Claims Veterans Helping Veterans live Q&A at our new time of 6 o'clock. We got our regular crew here. We got Stephanie, Blake, and Jackie. How's everyone doing this evening?
Great.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Kind of like we're going to see how we like the new time, especially trying to help out Jackie since she's halfway on the other side of the world. Just a little kind of while we're getting ready, we see some questions drop in. If you have questions for us, now is the time to start dropping your questions, because if we don't have questions or we've answered the questions, we're not going to say we're dead silence. So we're here to help you guys. So if you have any questions, be sure to start dropping them in the comment section. A little bit about all of us right now. I just kind of wanted to give just a little background. We started this about, it's going to be coming up, I think, almost 2 years that we've been doing this. We're about 6 subscribers from 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. And we've got over 52,000 members in our We've got over 52,000 members. We've been a team for quite a while, so we like it that way. We enjoy it. We hope that the Facebook group is useful. I know I haven't put out a lot of content lately. I've got a lot of things that I want to put out, but right now I'm kind of focusing with Blake and I doing consultations, Jackie helping out, between the Facebook and us there, and the live Q&A. So again, we're here for you guys to help you. So hopefully if you've got some questions, please put them there. If you do have questions that require maybe some extra time, then you be sure to email us, guys, at our email address, and we can always try and help. You can always send us any information, redacting personal information. I'll try to pass it on to the team and see if we can get you guys some answers. Blake is very helpful with his medical background, Jackie with her expertise, mine just being a veteran. I try to help the best of my knowledge.
And I don't do anything.
No, and I was about to say, and Chris does all the behind scenes for the lives and the videos. So without him, we probably wouldn't be here because I wouldn't know how to run it. But let me get the disclaimer, I guess, out of the way, and then we'll kind of kick it off. So VA Claims Veterans Helping Veterans. We're not accredited agent, VSO attorney, or entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we're not affiliated with the VA in any way. We do not assist veterans with preparation, presentation, and prosecution of the VA disability claims for VA benefits. This Q&A is solely for guidance purposes and should not be considered as medical or legal advice. All right, so if you're just joining us, guys, be sure to start dropping your questions in so that we can try and give you guys help. We're going to try and stick around for up to an hour. If not, and we don't have any other questions, then I guess we'll kind of be out. Do we have any other what do you call it? House cleaning or whatever you call it,
What
Chris?
time is it there, Jackie?
It is 12:03 a.m.
Yeah, so we don't want to keep her up too much longer, guys, because she probably has to get up in the morning. Well, it is morning for her.
I say it is
Yeah, I
morning.
get to be up in 6 hours, so.
I know.
All right,
So-
well, let's get to it then. We got a couple of questions ready, so let's just get
Okay.
to it.
All right, let's go ahead. So Janice, hi Janice, and welcome. Hi, if you're already receiving VA disability, do you have to file a supplemental form or a whole new application if your symptoms have worsened? So I guess I can touch on this and we can all kind of touch on this. So Janice, if you have current disabilities and you feel like they've worsened and you want to file for an increase, that's a new claim. If you have new disabilities that you want to file claims for, then that's also considered a new claim. I think, and Jackie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I always get caught up with the supplemental. The supplemental is typically if you are appealing a claim with new evidence or you're reopening a prior denial that's over a year and you're required new evidence to reopen it. Is that correct?
Yeah, so a new claim for disability and a claim for increase can both be filed on the 526 easy.
The 526 easy. And just another side note, because Blake and I always like to put this out there too, and Jackie as well. If you're unsure of what you're going to file, put an ITF in, which is an intent to file. You can just go online. You can basically what it is you go online, you start the application with your your personal information, and then you just click save. And then you have up to 1 year to file under that ITF. And a little tidbit of information, because I was talking to another veteran today, she was misunderstanding what an ITF. So an ITF, you must file all those claims at once under that ITF, because once you use that ITF, and let's say you've got another claim that you go, oh my goodness, I forgot I wanted to file. You've already used that ITF. So, and you can correct me here, Jackie, if you filed under that ITF and about a month later you're like, oh darn it, I meant to file for IBS, let me put it in, it now gets combined with the current pending claims, correct?
It's possible. It depends on where the claim is in the process and what type of claim it is.
Okay. So generally speaking, you should file all your claims at once under the ITF. And then
so the ITFs, not all claims will apply to them. They do apply for claims for increase, new claims, and supplemental claims. So if you're going to put in, like, let's say a new claim or an increased claim and a supplemental claim, you'll want to make sure that you file them on the same day, because if you file them on separate days, whatever claims form that you submit first is going to eat up that ITF. And then I wanted to add real quick, if you are not good with the computers, with the ITFs, and you're not, you don't feel like filing with va.gov, you can also call the 1-800 number, and the call center can place an ITF in the system with you. And that number is 1-800-827-1000. And they have pretty good hours. I think it's 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that's true too. And the other thing, they could fill out the form, right? And they could go
Absolutely.
to
VA form, I think 21 TAC 0966. They can mail it.
Yeah.
In. But it won't, the ITF won't be the day they mail it. It will be the date of receipt from VA. So it's really better to do it online or call, because then, it's the same day.
So anyways, just to answer your question, Janice, if you have any claims to file, whether they're new or second, whether they're primary, secondaries, you'll be filing under a VA 526 easy. It would not be a supplemental form unless that disability was previously denied and it's been over a year, and you would then need to provide new evidence to reopen it. All right. So I hope that answered the question. All right, here we go. Michael Hutchinson. Okay, so I have my bilateral calculator open. I have 40% for radiculopathy in my left leg and 20% in my right leg. How much will I get for bilateral? So bilateral is inferred when you have two limbs for bilateral factor, but I actually have my calculator here. So if there's 40 and 20, the combined bilateral, Michael, is 52 with a combined plus 10% at 57.2. So the overall is 57 for those two, for the bilateral factor. I mean,
feel like that math sounds off.
huh?
I feel like that math might be a little off. Which calculator are you using?
The Husky factor. I'm using the calculator that a rater gave me several years ago. I'm on the, I wonder if I can show this. Can you see this?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I actually haven't seen that one. Oh, it's a macro.
Yes. So
Let me double check you on
yeah,
that.
double check it. But the 40 plus 20, so it's 40 plus the 20, which is the 52 bilateral, with the 10% is the 57.2 rounded to 57. But that's just for the bilateral. It doesn't include whatever other disabilities he has.
It was a 40 and a 20.
Yes.
Nope, I'll be damned. So yeah, the bilateral factor is 5.2. Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, it's worth mentioning that's just for that. So the percentage changes if you have other musculoskeletal, like other disabilities on other sides of the body, including upper extremities. So
yeah,
that is a factor.
but just Michael, by what you're asking, that's what it would be. But like Jackie said, if you've got other disabilities, and again, if you want to email me all your disabilities or whatever, I can plug them into the calculator, or you can even go online. There's tons of online calculators that you can plug it in yourself and get your overall percentage, whether you're rounded up or down to your overall. But for those two specific, that was what the bilateral was. So I hope that helped. Okay. Brian, I was wondering, can you file more than one secondary claim against a primary claim, or is it only one secondary per initial claim? Jackie, you want to answer?
Yeah, you can claim whatever you want. So like a good example is, let's say somebody has prostate cancer, right? They finish all their treatment, but now they have incontinence, ED, scars. So they can claim all those conditions secondary. There's no limit. So whatever residual disabilities you have due to your primary service connected disability, you can claim. There's no limit.
My primary is myasthenia gravis. I've got a 30% for it. Everything else is secondary to that, and I'm at 100%.
And my left ankle is rated as primary, and all my other issues, including my toes, my metatarsals, all my metatarsals, and my other ankle are all secondary to that one primary. So you can, like Jackie says, you can have multiple secondaries. It just depends what you're filing, what your primary is, and if that primary has caused or aggravated those secondaries. So the answer is yes, you can absolutely potentially file for them, Brian. So just a update, guys. We're getting some people coming on here about 15 minutes in. Appreciate everybody coming on. If you've got questions, please go ahead and drop them in the comment section, because we'll answer them as we get them. So if you're just joining us, please be sure to drop those, and thank you. And Chris, what's the next question? Jane Lee, what is the best route to claim more issues or challenge a rating? I got one of my conditions hit service connected, but rated 0. I've never utilized a VSO, but I've also heard some people use lawyers. I'm not quite sure what the question is, but I guess if you're trying to challenge the 0%, 0% is a service connected rating at least, but it's non-compensable, obviously, where I'm going to use this language, and Jackie can probably step in here too. It just basically, in layman's term, to me, it basically means, okay, we didn't find you met the threshold of the minimum of that criteria for that particular disability. So therefore they're giving the 0%. Is it kind of correct, Jackie? Like, so if like
Yep.
IBS, if there's like if they don't meet the minimum 10% requirement, then they'll rate them at 0.
It means you have the diagnosis and you have the nexus. It just means that it's not documented in your file the severity that meets the minimum criteria for the next higher rating.
Right. And if you disagree with the evaluation and you're within 1 year of the notification letter, you can appeal the evaluation.
Yeah.
If you have no evidence to submit, you can do a higher level review, have a decision review officer review the claim. You can do an informal conference and talk to the decision review officer before they render a new decision. Or if you have new and relevant evidence to support the higher evaluation, you can put a supplemental claim in with that new evidence supporting that you warranted the higher evaluation. For the new stuff, you're just going to file a 526EZ. Honestly, the lawyers really aren't going to do a whole lot with your new claims. You really don't need one for something like that. I would at least try the appeal and put it in the new claim and see what VA says before you start committing 20% of whatever, minimum of whatever
Right.
these agents are charging.
And Jane, we'll go ahead and drop the OGC website. You can go find a VSO or even an accredited agent or accredited attorney, because the last thing I want to hear is at least you not finding somebody accredited. But you did mention you've never utilized a VSO, and they're a free service to you, and you can absolutely find one in your area. She says, unfortunately, it's been longer than a year, and that's okay. So you're at 0. So you're at the 0% for the disability, but you can absolutely utilize a VSO. And I'll get Chris to drop the OGC website in the comment section. I just got to see how I can get the. Let me see if I can
And
get it.
in today's world, that VSO doesn't have to be down the street.
No.
VSOs and attorneys can come from anywhere in the country if they're accredited with the VA.
Well, I think the VSO do you have to be in their area? I thought it was just the accredited. Am I wrong?
I think you can use anybody, can't you, Jackie?
Yeah. I'm in Germany right now, and there's veterans out here utilizing VSOs in the United States. So
yeah, you can use anybody. That's the one we get that question in the group a lot. Hey, who's a good VSO in the Houston area? Well, you don't have to be in the Houston area to use a VSO. You can use somebody used in Little Rock.
No, you do. For a VSO, you do have to be in the local area. For an accredited agent or accredited attorney, you do not. Because I use an accredited agent that was in Minnesota. But for a VSO, they won't see somebody if they're not in their county or area.
they might choose not to see somebody, but
Okay.
they can. They
Okay.
can. They're not. There's no like regulations saying that they
Right.
can't.
Now
And
if
then
you're
you
talking
do.
about if you're talking about a county VSO,
Yeah.
you're
Okay,
probably
a county
right.
VSO, yeah, or a state
But
VSO, you're
but
absolutely right.
VFW, DAV, they can choose to see anybody they want to.
Okay. I guess, Jane, she's asking what's the difference between, so an accredited agent and an accredited attorney, Jane, are allowed to charge up to the 20% legal, fee basis, basically. So for me, I retained an accredited agent to help me with my appeals. Versus a VSO doesn't charge for anything. They work for the federal government. The accredited agents and accredited attorneys are accredited through the VA and have established themselves as such and have the ability to help a veteran within the VA's rules per the fee agreement, which the fee agreement cannot exceed 20%. Typically, if I'm correct here, and I'm not looking at the actual rules, an accredited agent and accredited attorney will usually step in when it's an appeal situation.
Right.
However, if they've been helping you and then you've got like a new claim that's come up, they can also help you with that as well. But you really want to stay away from, as we call them, the predatory companies. You want to kind of try to get somebody through that OG website, which, by the way, we just put the link in there for you, Jane. That way you can find. And I mean, honestly, I would go and try and find a VSO through that OGC website and see if you can start there with that 0% rating. Now, keep in mind, since it's been a year, you are going to need new evidence to support the increase, to show the severity has gotten worse for the 38 CFR minimum requirement.
Which can simply be your medical records for the last year that says it's gotten worse.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hope everyone's enjoying the new time, 6 o'clock. We got one of our loyal followers here, Laughing Guy. He gave us a nice $20 donation. Thank you, Laughing Guy. We appreciate it.
What does he say? Video game controller. Oh, is that the emoji? We can't see it.
Yeah, it's an emoji that, like, it spells it out because they can't get it to.
I'm like, video game controller throws a face down tantrum.
It's funny. It's funny on YouTube. It's not on here.
Okay. Well, thank you, Laughing Guy. We appreciate the support. I think he had to go walk his dog.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the support and for you following us for so long. We really do. So, Jane, I hope that answered your question. If you have any additional questions, drop them in the comment section, or you can always email us as well, or through our Facebook group as well. We post the questions all the time. That's probably a great place to post your questions because there's over 52,000 members in there. So, okay. Next question. Jeff Connors. Hey, Jeff. Welcome back. I had my first mental health CMP exam last week based on an insomnia claim. Only questions were childhood and substance abuse. If denied, what additional evidence could be used outside psych DBQ, IDing, and Nexus? Question mark. Anybody want to take a stab at this one?
Well, honestly, the best thing for you to do is wait till you get your decision, because your written decision, if it's denied, has to tell you why it's denied. In addition, it has the favorable findings, which will tell you what, favorable aspects of the different requirements for service connection are found. So really right now, to give you advice like this would be speculative. Right. Of course, you could do an outside DBQ, but I don't think I would go that route right now while you still have a claim pending. Why are you going to do that when you could be granted it? So I would try to be patient until you get your written decisions. That will give you a lot of information that would allow for a better, well-grounded answer.
And don't put the cart before the horse, so to speak, Jeff, because sometimes while us veterans walk out of an exam and we're like, oh my gosh, that was horrible, that was terrible, it sucked, it winds up being fine or being favorable. So, and honestly, in all mental health exams, especially if it's your initial one, they do ask you about childhood. They do ask you about substance abuse. And those substance abuse are considered coping mechanisms. In of themselves, they can't be rated. But if you suffer with PTSD and you drink to wash away the pain or something, they do consider that as well. But at the end of the day, like Jackie said, wait for the decision, see how it comes back. If it's favorable, then there's no reason to worry. If it's not favorable, then, and you want us to look at it, then you can always email it to us, redacting the personal information, and we'll look at the decision and we can try and help guide you with it as well. Okay. Next question. The Pool Boy. The Pool Boy. I like that name. I'm currently 100% and planning to get married. Is there any time limits issues that would prevent me signing my new wife up for Champ VA? Also, she's 64 and I'm 67. Any Medicare issues? Well, you got to first add him as a dependent before you can apply for Champ VA. Champ VA will deny anybody who's not a dependent. So first and foremost, that. Now, Blake, you want to step in on that? Because
It'll take about 6 months for you to get all the paperwork back from the VA on Champ VA, but there shouldn't be anything holding it back. It will be considered. I think Champ VA has a secondary for Medicare when she goes on Medicare at 65, but you want to be sure you take the Medicare and use it as a secondary, not as a primary.
Well, isn't Champ VA a secondary? Like you can't have Champ if you have TRICARE, but isn't Champ a secondary? Like if you go to Medicare's primary, correct?
Primary, it becomes secondary, and you don't really need what they call a supplemental if you have Champ VA.
So could they deny taking Medicare, or they would take Medicare and not take?
They take Medicare first, and then the secondary.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that helps answer your question on that. But just make sure that you add your wife as a dependent first, because I just had that question in the group today where somebody applied for Champ before they were a dependent because the dependency claim is processing and they got denied. So make sure they're a dependent first on your VA compensation and then move forward with your Champ VA application. Okay, next question is a two-parter, Chris said. Leo, hi, I am 0% and just getting started. So I'm wondering if you're 0 or not service connected at all. I went to doctor yesterday, private, and he said he never heard of doing a Nexus letter, and this is an older population area. So do I need a Nexus for sure?
All depends on what you're claiming.
I have at least 6 ready to go with this. I have spouse and son statements and personal statements done. Okay, go ahead, Blake.
Again, it all depends on what you're claiming, and what's in your record and what was in your medical records from your service treatment record. If nothing was there, then you're going to have to get at least something. You'll have to have a Nexus letter for at least one of them to claim that to get your foot in the door. Correct, Jackie?
No, not necessarily. Do you need a Nexus letter? No. So VA has a duty to assist veterans in gaining evidence for their claims. So when everyone's talking about getting the Nexuses, VA is literally doing that for you. And that's when VA sends out for the medical opinions. They're asking somebody for the Nexus. And we all know they can be favorable or unfavorable. But especially if you're just putting in an initial claim, honestly, I would claim it. The fact that you have supplemental evidence like statements, lay statements, buddy statements, and stuff, that's a lot. I would claim it, see how it shakes out, and then, if it's unfavorable, maybe you might want to consider a Nexus. But for initial claims, personally, I think in a lot of cases they're overkill and unneeded. But that's my personal opinion.
And I think, Leo, I'm not sure if you heard us talk about Jane earlier, but you may very well want to put in an ITF right now, which is an intent to file, either doing it online or, like Jackie said earlier, calling the 800 number and requesting an intent to file, or even taking the actual form into your local regional office. Because if you're trying to gather your evidence right now, the best thing for you is to preserve your effective date. So, and that's to gather all your evidence to support your disability claims that you're going to file. So I would highly suggest that you do file an intent to file now, put it in place. That gives you up to 1 year to file under that ITF. And again, make sure that you try to file all at the same time under that ITF, because once you use it, it's gone. So, I mean, I think that's the best advice right now. And don't be quick to file, just be thorough. Because the more thorough, as I tell veterans, you got to have the evidence to support. So be thorough. Don't rush to file because you want to file. So he says all records, etc., are ready to go, just no Nexus. Okay, so here's the thing, Leo. Like, Jackie was saying, you don't necessarily need a nexus. A nexus is establishing a connection. It doesn't mean you need an actual letter. So if you're trying to file, let's go with this for instance. So let's say you're trying to file for IBS. You've got a current condition that's chronic for IBS. You did not serve in any of the presumptive areas. You have it in service. So let's say you have an in-service diagnosis and you have a current chronic diagnosis. So you kind of established, oh, and let me go back. And that current chronic diagnosis is linked to service. Then you've established the nexus. So your current doctor is saying, yes, his IBS is due to service. And he's also, and then they kind of put it in the medical records, like Blake was saying. They've noted in your medical records that you have a current diagnosis. It's chronic, and yes, it is due to service because of this. Then that's the nexus. A lot of veterans get in their mind that they need a letter, and you don't need an actual letter because, especially if you're trying to file something primary. What was that? Sorry. Especially if you're trying to file a primary, it needs to be in your records. So, or then we go on, and then we're going to go off on a tangent on secondary. But I'm just trying to explain the nexus situation where a lot of veterans think they need a nexus letter. Blake did put out a very good post in our group about nexus IMOs. We also did a great 3-part video on our YouTube channel on the nexus and IMOs, because at the end of the day, you don't really need a letter. You need your, as Blake said, you need your medical records noted. Anybody else want to touch on anything? Good. Okay. So if you're ready to go and you said you're just missing the nexus, then you may not be ready to go. I'll be blunt. If you want to have a more candid conversation, you can always, again, email me, give me a little bit more specifics, redacting personal information, and we can always try and help you there. Or you can come into the group and post your questions as well. Okay. Next question.
So, Steph, I put it in the chat, or internal chat. It's kind of a lengthy and involved question, so I don't know if you want to talk about it or.
That definitely needs more information.
Yeah.
I mean,
so Sandra,
I think that's more of an email or maybe because that's
Absolutely.
a very difficult question to answer.
Yeah, that's not something we want. So Sandra, I'm an MST survivor myself. So if you want to have a more candid information, email me at this email address. Provide any information in that email that you are wanting to discuss. We can talk on a more personal level through that. Any documents you want to send me, redact the personal information, and we can try. I can try and help you too.
Yeah, I think it's not that we don't want to answer your question. I think that's just more of an in-depth conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, it is an in-depth, and I don't want to. It could get it could get very personal, Sandra. So let's just try to help you as a woman myself, MST survivor. Definitely try and have a conversation with you through the email, and then maybe even a phone call or a video consultation or something where we can talk it out.
Okay, so maybe you can at least answer that question she had. She doesn't understand why an MST claim was turned into an MDD claim.
Would you know, without knowing the whole gist of the claim, any idea, Jackie, potentially why?
Yeah, well, mental health is kind of transient. So the VA uses the DSM-5 criteria to evaluate mental health and certain diagnoses. So it sounds like, again, this is speculative, that the examiner found that you did not meet even though you met the criteria for PTSD in the past. Again, mental health waxes and wanes, right? So they found that you did not currently meet the criteria, and they felt that per the DSM-5 guidelines that it's likely the MDD diagnosis was more appropriate. Really doesn't matter what they call it. All mental health is generally rated together and it's evaluated the same. So
I just figured it out. and Sandra, if you can answer this, she says, why did my MST claim end up as an increase for MDD? Sandra, I'm gonna go on a limb here. If you are already rated for mental health right now for MDD and you filed a new claim for MST, they have most likely combined because you are already rated for mental health, and you cannot be rated for multiple mental health ratings other than an eating disorder. So by that statement, it sounds like you are already rated for MDD. So if that's the case,
She has a PTSD rating.
she says it. I'm rated for MDD now. That's correct. So Sandra, that
It,
they're doing that's why you're
but
already rated
her
for mental
initial
health.
question says I have a disability rating for PTSD. So she already has a PTSD rating.
She just says
This
she's
is
rated
why
for
there should be an email.
Huh?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's so
Send it to
important
email.
that stuff should be an email.
Send it to email, Sandra, but I think I can clarify this. That's why. Just send me the email.
Sandra, send the email. We can send you something back. We can actually get you a link and do a one-on-one with you.
Yeah.
This could be handled
Yeah.
probably better on a one-on-one situation.
I think we can clarify it anyway, Sandra. So please just take the time to email me and I'll help you to the best that I can, but I think I can for sure. Okay. Next question. This is from Rick Shockley. I'm at step 5 rating phase in the process. Is there a way to access or see the results of the CMP exams to see if the doc determined if it was favorable or not? Can VSO see it? So if it's a contracted facility, the answer, well, even with the VA, the answer is no. Especially with a contracted facility, it goes back to the VA. You would have to request your C file, which is your claim file, for any and all documents pertaining to your claim. A VSO can see it. They can discuss it with you this is again preference. If they choose to, they could say, hey, they see it. This is what they see. I have heard that before. But you as a veteran cannot see it. Even if it was done through the VA, they've now locked the My Healthy Vets for 30 days. I believe 30 days or longer until after the claim.
And they won't send out your C file for that claim until after the decision has been made.
Yeah, good point, Blake. So,
and it's a Freedom of Information Act. If you just Google VA Freedom of Information Act, it will pull up the website and tell you exactly how to do the request. You can do it electronically or you can mail it.
We have a video on the website, on the YouTube channel too. Some people like visual too, so if you like a visual, then go there and we put a great one together on the C file, also known as your claim file. So be sure to check that out as well. But to answer your question, no, you can't see it while your claim is pending. Okay. Chris, did we miss Laughing Guy?
He just said something about his surgery that he had didn't cost him anything.
Oh, okay.
Because he's 100%.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Leo, we answered his question about the Nexus letters. So he made an additional comment that says he was told to get one for all claims. Thanks so much. Yes, Gulf War vet, asthma, etc. So I can't emphasize this enough. If you have a presumptive condition, and asthma is a presumptive condition for Gulf War exposures, you absolutely do not need a Nexus letter. It literally is a waste, because as long as you have the requisite service, you have a current diagnosis, then it's going to get service connected. So if it's a presumptive condition, just don't, because it's not needed. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change the outcome of the claim.
Good point. I hadn't read all the way down there. I'm still up here to the other question.
I just got there myself.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Sorry, I don't want to interject all that stuff for you guys.
No, you're fine. But I mean, she's absolutely correct. And hopefully, Leo, you're still on, because if it's presumptive, you absolutely don't need the Nexus. You're wasting and anybody who would do it is no good anyways, because it's a presumptive. As far as Laughing Guy, again, thank you for the donation. Glad you had your shoulder surgery through the community care. I love the community care program. Even if you're not 100%, just FYI, if you have surgery, even if you're through the community, it's service connected, whatnot, it's covered. But I'm glad it didn't cost you a dime. It's great, some of the VA benefits we have. I'm blessed and thankful for it because of all the surgeries I've had. So hopefully you're recovering. All right, next question, Chris. The pool boy is back. During an HLR, is it considered new evidence if you provide additional scientific documents providing claimed issue is secondary to current disability in lieu AFib secondary to hypertension? Yes, if you provide any new evidence under the HLR, it is considered new evidence. HLR,
You
do not
cannot
provide any.
you can't add new evidence under an HLR, can you, Jackie?
No, because then it turns into a supplemental, right?
Right.
So for the higher level reviews, the VA cannot consider any evidence that was submitted after the decision, that the veteran was sent. However, given his comment, he's claiming a new theory of entitlement. So they came out with guidance, I think, like a year ago or something, that said if the veteran raises a new theory of entitlement, then they can take that even though it's not considered new evidence if it's open in a new theory of entitlement. So let's say like the veteran claims sleep apnea secondary to tinnitus, and then during the higher, like the informal conference, or they submit a 4138 that says I also want you to consider it like on a direct basis, that would be enough to, likely trigger it into the supplemental claim to figure that out. So if it discusses a new theory of entitlement, yes, that's good, but any other like scientific evidence and stuff,
Right.
that can't be considered unless they find a duty to assist error.
Right. So that's the only way that would happen, pool boys, if under the HLR they found a duty to assist error and they turned it open. Because once the DTA error is found, the HLR is closed and it becomes a supplemental. But you cannot just go in and provide new evidence under an HLR. You should have done a supplemental. So if you're in an HLR, you need to argue that the original claim should have been granted based on the evidence of record and what law was, I guess, not broken, but what the VA did not do under the law that should have been granted originally. All right, next question. AF Vet. Oh, thanks. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. I love reading what the little emoji is. It says pair character lying on the side, raising his arm while saying, "How's it going?" I'm trying to figure it out.
And Steph, we appreciate you trying to act it out. That's great.
Did you like that? Come on, we gotta have some fun here. All right, next question. All right, and this is from AF Vet. Half my claim is open stage 3. My claim is over 380 days. I got to see on my contractor CMP medical opinion, and the clinic opinion opined. I can't say that. Blech. Clinic opined that my condition is more than likely due to my service condition. Is there a part 2? Yes, part 2. But check the less than likely box. Should I submit a statement pointing out the discrepancy? I got my opinion. Does anybody else want to interject before I give mine? Okay. So my honest opinion is, if you have seen it and you see that there is a discrepancy, because it sounds like in one instance it's saying it's favorable, but then that box is checked. And sometimes we're all human. We make errors. They might have checked the wrong box. So it's possible. I would save myself time and energy of having to go to an appeal in case it did get denied, to at least put in a statement, which are now all being done on the VA 21-10210. And I would just point out the discrepancy to the rater. And Jackie can clarify this, because if there is a discrepancy on the exam, then it's possible a new exam or clarification of that opinion, correct?
Yeah, it would be conflicting if they checked no, but the opinion was favorable, so it needs to be corrected. I would highly recommend still sending in the 4138, but a good rater should pick up on that because that would be that would be an error for the raters, So again, good raters should pick up on that, but Barney style it, you saw it, send in the 4138 to make sure that they address it.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I'd at least put it out there, because save yourself time and energy now is better than potentially letting it go through. And at any point, I guess at any standpoint right now, it seems like it's already a conflict. So I just kind of put that notice out there now to the rater and let them check, and then they might just simply send it back, maybe like like an ACE review, which is a medical, to send it back to the medical examiner, which is an ACE review, just kind of saying, hey, can you clarify this opinion, because it's kind of got some discrepancies. And then the medical examiner can go ahead and make the addendum to the exam and then send it back to the rater. So absolutely, I would do that right now, then potentially have to go through an appeal. Okay. I think we got, did we miss Mr. J in between AF Vet, Chris? Might want to look at that one. All right, Rachel Rhodes. I had a CMP exam a little over a year ago. I did a higher level review, and now I have another CMP exam Friday, and I'm very nervous. Any advice? So there's might be some information missing here, but if you had a higher level review, so Jackie, would that mean potentially, I mean, we're probably pulling stuff out of a hat here. If they did an HLR, maybe there was a DTA error found and they've ordered a new CMP exam?
Oh, definitely. If they ordered a new CMP exam, then the higher level review is definitely closed and they reopened it in the supplemental claim.
I guess my question is, will they bring up what all was said during the first CMP exam?
Probably.
Yeah, so when VA submits their examinations and stuff, the VSRs go through and they are supposed to tab, so they call it tabbing, but annotate all the evidence of record. So they don't just ask for like an opinion or anything. So let's say you claim migraine headaches, right? So they should be sending all the previous CMP exams, the STRs, medical evidence that's submitted, VA treatment records that's submitted. They're going to send all that information to the examiner to consider.
So, I mean, I guess just go in. We don't know what the disability that you're going in for this exam, but for whatever it is, I'd even advise you just to review the DBQ again. Go over your symptoms. Make sure that you're truthful, you're open, you're honest. You don't hold anything back. Especially if it's a mental health, if it's a physical, make sure you don't, go past the point of pain. Just kind of make sure you got all your ducks in a row for this CMP exam. Okay. Mr. J, any idea the current wait time for a copy of your C file? I put in a request in February this year and still waiting. That's about average. I mean,
Yeah.
mine was like over a year.
6 months to a year.
I'm hearing 6 to 7 months right now.
What is it?
I've heard about 6 to 7 months.
Okay. That's about, so he might be close.
Yeah, hopefully you hear something soon.
Yeah. It's kind of like a hurry up and wait. So Sandra, okay, Sandra's back. Can you answer why every time my disability claim percentage increases that my retirement income decreases?
If she's under 50%, it goes down. Once you hit 50%, then you can get both your retirement income, your full retirement, and disability.
Were you medically retired, Sandra? I'm so sorry, Blake. You broke up, and I didn't hear that you were still talking. My bad.
You don't get retirement pay if you're medically retired.
If you're medically retired after 20.
Well, yeah.
So if you're medically retired, what they'll do is you can receive VA pay in lieu of retirement pay. So let's say your retirement pay is like $1,000 a month. You would waive it because you'd rather get the VA untaxed disability. But if it's combat related, obviously you can get concurrent receipt under CRSC. But if it's affecting your pension, what kind of pension is it? Is it like your retirement from the military, or do you have a pension through the VA?
Oh, she's answering. I'm getting taxed on both.
I think this is just defer to the email again because this is
yeah. Go ahead and put the stuff in an email because like I know my daughter, she medically retired, but she didn't do 20, right? Like what Blake was saying. So if you don't do 20 and you medically retire, you don't get both. You get VA and or yeah. If Sandra, if you could please put all of that in an email and we'll try to help you because we're kind of grasping at straws. We don't have the whole picture and I want to help you. I just don't have have everything in front of me. Oh, she said she did 24 years.
She said she did 24 years, but like I said, we have
What
a
Blake
lot of
said.
information and we don't have enough information with her. So we
Right.
need to kind of wrap this up in an email and get to the.
Yeah. So that's what Blake said. So we're going to wrap this up here for you, Sandra. Basically, it sounds like you're probably less than 50%, as Blake was saying. And therefore, if you're rated less than 50% with the VA, you cannot get both. You can't get your retirement and your VA compensation. So there's something more going on. So if you can, she said, got you. If you could go ahead and email me, wrap it up, and we'll definitely try and help you for sure. Okay. Next question. So this is part 1 of 2 from Ray. Have had a PTSD claim with MDD and SAD denied 3 times as they would not verify stressor. HLR found DTA error and then denied again after 9 months. Should they have considered the secondary mental conditions? Can I file a supplemental claim, just mental disorder? Anybody?
Can you pop the question up again,
Sure.
Chris, please?
There's a difference in would and could. He says they would not verify the stressor or they could not verify. Which one is it?
What
is SAD?
So you're claiming PTSD, MDD, and SAD
denied 3 times. See, without seeing the denials, I don't know.
Well, you only get one mental health, so it would be a PTSD claim. He just needs to verify the stressor. Now some of those stressors are on you to verify, not on the VA to necessarily verify.
Well, and PTSD, where's this second part? Can I file something? See, the thing about this is we haven't really. I'll pop up that last part, Chris. He just put in the chat or the comments.
You can file a supplemental claim just for the mental health condition.
Is there any reasoning behind the VA's
different person?
Oh,
but
my bad.
But you don't need stressor verification for the MDD and the SAD. It's only stressor verification for PTSD. So if you have new and relevant evidence, you can absolutely file that supplemental claim.
But honestly, and here's where this is where I like to tell a veteran to stop, because he's already said he's been denied 3 times. So he's gotten the denial he's gotten the denial stacked up. So what's going on? See, and then that's my first thing going up is you've got 3 denials. So, I mean, honestly, I would need to see what the denials are, what has led up to, and I've been out of this for a while, but Jackie, when it comes to the appeals, when you file an HLR appeal, You can file a supplemental behind it, right?
Right.
But you can't file
See,
another HLR.
so if you submit a higher level review and they deny and close it, then you cannot do another higher level review.
Okay.
Now, if you file a higher level review and they find, um, sorry about that.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
And they find a duty to assist error and move it to the supplemental claim, then you could do another higher level review.
If that supplemental was denied.
Yeah,
So if the
I mean, favorable denied, even if it was granted and they didn't agree with the valuation, they could still do another higher level review.
okay. And I mean, honestly, to be honest, Ray, without really seeing the denials, I'd really want to see the denials, and I'd like to see the history of the claims and what has transpired, why you were denied, what did you do when you filed either another claim or another supplement or so again, I'll throw this out to you too, Ray, if you want the help. If you want to send everything in email, redacting your personal information, please send it to the email that Chris is going to pop up. Redact your personal information, give us a little bit of a history, provide all the decisions where you are right now, and we will be happy to try and look at it and help you. Okay. All right. Mr. J, is there any reasoning behind the VA stance on not allowing veterans to access their C file? I can freely access my VA info through the blue button, but all my CMPs have been with contractors. Well, so
Federal law, complain to
that's what I was
Congress.
going to go with, the law.
Federal law, and they're not restricting your access. You just have to do a Freedom of Information Act. It's the same along all government agencies. If you don't like it,
Yeah,
contact your congressman because they're the ones.
I can tell you one of the reasons why. Medical records from the contractor actually belong to the contractor. As me as a physician, if you come from another physician and you go to that physician and say, I want my medical records, they are not your records. They are the provider's records. If your provider sends your records to me and then you go on to another provider, I can send them my records, but I can't send them the ones that the original provider sent to me.
And the CMP exam is a legal exam that the VA is doing, excuse me, for your claim. So it's the property of the VA. What you're talking about are actually two different entities within the VA. So keep in mind, the blue button is with VHA, which is your health records for your medical care. The VBA is for benefits. So when you are applying for benefits, you are asking for compensation through the VA, and they are doing a legal exam for that particular disability that you're claiming is due to service or secondary to a primary. So like Jackie said, if you want things to change, we all know what we need to do. We need to go to Congress and say, hey, this is what we want done. But you are free to get your C file by requesting it through a FOIA, which is the Freedom of Information Act. And then that way you can get any and all of your claim documents. Okay. Next question.
Rachel Rose again has added some stuff. Trying to clarify exactly what she's asking, but I'll pop it up here.
Okay.
Two-parter. We answered her questions earlier.
Yeah. So sorry to add to what I asked. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety, mixed MDD, while I was in the Air Force, then diagnosed off base while I was still in with bipolar 2, which is now type 1. They have already established service connection. I was discharged kind of quick, fast, and in a hurry. General under honorable, long story, but I feel like I should have been medically discharged. Well, unfortunately, if you didn't go through the course of action for medical separation or medical retirement, and you got out And again, we don't have a lot of information here.
You can appeal to the service. If you can pull it up in a Google. Like I know for the Navy and the Marine Corps, you can appeal to the Board of Naval Corrections. No, those are taking about 3 years on average right now, is what I heard. And they may be able to consider your discharge. That is actually something where I would recommend that you get a representative that's well versed in it, because you wait a long time for that decision, and it's like very like legal, so I never recommend getting representation in the forms of lawyers and stuff, but for this particular case it might be a good idea. I know with
Get
my
an
medical
attorney.
discharge, I had a misdiagnosis, but I still got medically retired. So now I've been waiting over a year and a half for them to correct that diagnosis, because it will make a difference for me. So,
Well, and a lot of veterans that do get out with mental health issues, like they get the general under honorable due to mental health. I have seen a lot of them get apply for
that's
their character upgrade or character discharge
but
upgrade.
that's through VA. So yes, VA can do a character discharge and make a determination
Yeah.
if the period of service is going to be honorable for VA purposes. But we're not talking about VA. We're actually talking about appealing to each branch of
DOD.
service, because they're the only ones who can officially change like that discharge that's on the DD 214.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So for what she's trying to say, Rachel, is basically you can look online, and the best advice is to get legal advice on that situation, because that's a pretty sticky, I think, situation. Okay, we're at an hour.
Yeah, we're at an hour. It looks like we've gone through the questions. Blake, you can check me on that one. I did a quick poll while we were going live and asked, do you like the new time of 6 p.m.? We had 91% yes, 8% no, with 23 votes.
Okay.
Awesome.
I mean, I think we
Because
have
all
a
the
lot
people
more.
that it's because all the people that don't like it can't get on because they're on the West Coast.
They can go back and watch the video.
Well,
We can't please everybody. I'm sorry.
So I
You should
think
put
we're
a
going to
poll
try
on
and do
the
this.
Facebook page.
I think we're going to try and do this again. Everybody will try and do it probably like the second week in October. I don't know. We'll see. We're trying to work around everybody's schedule, but in the meantime, be sure to join the Facebook group if you haven't. If you have, ask your questions in there. You can get a lot of responses from people there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you get notifications for new videos and or the lives. You can always email us with any of your questions. If there comes a point where you need a consultation, Blake and I are always available to do one of those as well. Laughing Guy just said hot tub time.
Bedtime.
Bedtime. See, Jackie's barely hanging on.
So, I am. It's like 1 a.m.
I know, sweetheart. I really appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Blake. We appreciate it as always. And everybody have a great night.
Night.
See you later, guys.
Night.
Bye.